One of the frequent questions that we've received over the years, periods of time when it hasn't been an issue, but it is an issue once again, is whether or not there's any interest in the legislature in addressing possible use of the prison located in Appleton. And we have a question from a viewer about that. Representative Anderson, let me start with you. What's been going on in that question, if anything?
Oh, boy. I don't serve on public safety, but I know that there's been proposals, at least in the last biennium, discussing the usage of the Appleton prison. And I think the most recent proposal, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I think would actually just use the space but then have it run by the state. And I think some of the concern was that they didn't want to have it as a private operation. And so I think there's probably less opposition to have it being run by the state versus a private operation. And it's good space, and the problem that we have here in the state is that space and being able to house offenders in a safe manner. So that gives us some options. And but you guys can correct me if you know better where it's at this year.
Representative, what do you think?
I've heard some of the same things. I've heard that somebody was making a proposal to, if our president follows through on his undocumented immigrant proposals, to use that as a place to keep people. I like to think of it as warehousing. But my only concern with Appleton is it's quite a ways away. So if someone from the metro area gets stuck there, or earns the right to spend some time there,
you gotta get out more. Come on. It's a really small state when you travel.
Oh, Appleton's a good 2.5, 3 hours, and if you have, it is humorous for us, but there's a lot of people that don't have cars. We just heard in the Economic Development Committee proposal for, I can't remember if it was $1 million or $10 million, and no one was opposed to it to help people get vehicles, because it's the really one thing that makes a difference in poverty or being able to keep a job and start providing some of the stuff for yourself. And that is one of the issues with Appleton. There's no real bus service out there. If we need it, I would prefer to see us empty out our prisons a little bit more and get nonviolent offenders out of our prisons. And, if all you did was sell a bag of weed, there's no reason to have somebody in jail. You should be on probation. You should be on supervised release. There are other things that we can do, and it's much, much cheaper. And as chair of the state government finance, you should be thrilled at the idea of keeping our costs down.
Well, I think my concern is that when I talk to the police officers that we have in the state, those crimes that you view as being minor or small are what leads to larger crimes. And I know that at least in the city that I live in, they focus a lot on trying to crack down on the small crimes so that they don't grow into bigger crimes. And I think that as a state, that's part of our responsibility as well.
Senator, your thoughts?
In terms of the crime issue in general, I have not heard any more than these two have about what's going on with Appleton. But in terms of, I don't disagree, you should address the small crimes, but you don't address them by locking people up. It's a lot more trying to divert people away from the prison system, away from crime. And I think we don't do a good job of that. I think we should be, I'm a big believer in investment. Tim spends his effort a lot on capital investments and physical investments, but I think our investments in people. Kids who take a wrong turn, the faster we can help steer them a different direction, the better. Chemical dependency, a huge problem in the state, not worse here than other places, but you look at the people in prison, 3/4 of the people in prison are there either because they have a serious or they happen to have a very serious mental health issue, or they have chemical dependency problem, or both. And to me, the more we can do things to help people with addiction problems, to help people with mental health problems, the better off we're going to be in reducing crime. And I don't disagree that we should take small matters and try and deal with them, but I don't think you're suggesting that minor things mean you should throw somebody in jail for doing things that aren't good but aren't equivalent of sending somebody to jail or to prison. I think we should be working to help people steer them the right way. And like chemical dependency, I don't think we should treat it as much a crime as we should treat it a health issue.
Well, let's talk about recidivism rates, because, it's one thing about having the location and needing the location, and my understanding is we talk about leasing Appleton and then having the state operate it, which I think actually is a pretty good idea, because when we find out we don't need it, we can get rid of the lease. But the other part, the component, is recidivism, and I'm actually working on a bill, and Senator Miller is going to pick it up on Monday to help fund a program that I happen to know about that has half the recidivism rate that the current population has, which demonstrably will show savings to the taxpayer, because every time you send somebody back to prison, the number is something like $27,000 it costs the state to incarcerate somebody. But if you can cut in half that recidivism rate, for a small amount of money, you can save a whole bunch of money on the front end. So I'm working in that direction. We're hoping we can maybe find the money. We got $1.6 billion. I'm hoping we can take off a little bit of money for something like this. But it's those types of programs that government needs to look at to save themselves money. And some people will say, well, you're spending it. No, you're spending it to save money as well as create productive citizens that are going to be taxpayers. And one thing I think we can all agree upon is we want more taxpayers in Minnesota.
And there's a program just 4 or 5 blocks from here that has a 95% success rate with people coming out of prison 2 years out. And the recidivism rate, I need to make sure I pronounce that correctly, typically happens within the first 6 months to 12 months. And you're correct. I don't know which bill that is, but certainly send me the House file and I'll sign on. I'm sure you've got somebody in mind on already, though.
Representative Hertas has it. We might even be talking about the same location. It's over off of Hennepin.
So one little advertising piece, we won't go into the discussions here, but treatment courts, which function under the judiciary, are an example of some of this and have been proven to be popular and successful. So part of this conversation.